Greetings everybody, and welcome to Euclid's proposition number 15. In this proposition we are asked to show that vertical angles will be congruent. Now let's take a look and see how that proof might go. The main idea behind this proof is basically that we're doing some algebra with our angles. And we will do that by basically equating straight angles and then subtracting the angle that those straight angles have in common. So it would go something like this. We can see that angle AEC plus angle CEB will give us our straight angle AEB. And our angle CEB plus our angle BED will give us our other straight angle CED. Now, because angle CED and angle AEB are straight angles, that means that they are going to be congruent. And so what we have is if angle AEC plus angle CEB is going to be angle AEB, and angle CEB plus our angle BED gives us angle CED, and now we also have that angle AEB is going to be congruent to angle CED. Well, that means that the left-hand sides will also be congruent as well. And so what we then have is that angle AEC plus angle CEB will be congruent to angle CEB plus angle BED, and that is our common notion number 1. Now what we notice is that we have the same angle on both sides. We have angle CEB on the left and we have angle CEB on the right. And so the idea with that is that we simply subtract those from both sides. And so if I subtract my angle CEB from both sides, what I will be left with is my remainders, that my angle AEC will then be congruent to my angle BED. Really just follows from my common notion. Number 3, that says that if equals be subtracted from equals, the remainders will also be equal. And so what we have then is that angle AEC is going to be congruent to our angle BED. And so that gives us our first pair of congruent vertical angles. So for our second pair of vertical angles, our angle CEB and our angle AED, we will do something very similar to that. We will just take two straight angles that happen to overlap at one of the angles that we're not interested in. And so we can use our angle BED. So our angle CEB plus our angle BED gives us our straight angle CED. And likewise, our angle BED plus our angle AED gives us our straight angle AEB. And just as before, being straight angles, we have that angle AEB will be congruent to angle CED. And just as before, we have angle CED going to be congruent to our angle AEB, and so it means that the left-hand sides of our equations also have to be equal. And so, once again, by common notion 1, our left-hand sides have to be congruent, so we have angle CEB plus angle BED is going to be congruent to our angle BED plus our angle AED. And so, just as before, we notice that we have angle BED on both sides, so we just subtract angle BED from both sides. And so what we're left with is that our angle CEB will then be congruent to our angle AED. And once again, this follows from our common notion number 3, that subtracting equals from equals means that the remainders will also be equal. And so, just as before, we have angle CEB being congruent to our angle AED, as was to be demonstrated. And so I will see you guys in the next proposition. Take care.